This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, let's start. I hope it's audible to everyone. Okay, right. So let's start with the programming part. So in the last class, we discussed about the difference between what standard objects and what custom objects. We understood that standard objects are the objects what provided by what SAP itself. Okay, standard objects are the objects which are provided by SAP itself. Okay, custom objects means what are the new objects that we are going to develop on behalf of our customer specific requirements. We call them as what custom objects, or we call it as what Z objects. Okay, so as I told you, to connect to the SAP server, we need to install what SAP GUI software, SAP Graphical User Interface. So whenever we install this SAP GUI software, you will get the logon pad on the desktop. So let me just try to connect to the server, right? So I'm connecting to what EHP7 enhancement pack 7. Okay, log on. So by default, it is going to show me the client. As we understood in the last classes, development client, quality client, and production client will be associated with what a unique identification called as what client. Each client is nothing but what 3-digit number, which is a collection of what users. Okay. So here, let me connect to the server. So I'll give the credentials, the user ID and password. Done. The default login language is what English. So the version we are using is what EHP7. Okay, enterprise central component 6.0 including EHP7. So let me connect. Right. So if you are successfully connected to the SAP system, you will get this particular initial screen, which we call it as what SAP easy access screen. Okay, so to begin with, let us see how to develop the executable programs. Okay, so as part of ABAP, we are going to develop different types of what objects. Okay, one of the object is what executable program. Okay, so to develop this particular executable program, we require what ABAP editor. We require a tool called as ABAP editor. The transaction code for this tool is what SE38. So here, so I'll go to in the what initial screen, in the easy access screen, in the standard toolbar. As part of standard toolbar, we have this command field. The cursor is blinking. This box we call it as what command field, where we provide the T codes. Okay, so let me give the command field. So in the command field, I'll give the T code what SE38. It will open me a tool called as what ABAP editor. Okay, you can visualize this ABAP editor similar to what turbo C editor. In C++ we have turbo C editor. Here we have what ABAP editor. Then here it is asking the program name. So since I want to develop my own program, my own object, what you will do, you'll start your objects with what Z or what Y. We pronounce it as what Z object. So I'll give Z. Okay, I'll give the what object name as something Z645. Anything apart from special characters, you can give anything, but make sure that you start with the Z or Y. So I'll give the program object name as something Z645 what program 1. Anything you can give. Okay, any name you can give. So for your batch, let me follow the sequence. Z645 program 1. This is the object name. Since it is starting with Z, it will not ask you for any access key. Okay, so let me click on create button. When I click on create button, done. Here it is asking for the title. Okay, let me give any of the title. So let me give the title as something. My requirement is I want to develop a simple object, simple program which has to perform the sum of two numbers. Okay, very simple. We'll start with the very basic level. Okay, so I want to develop a simple object which has to display me the what sum of what two numbers. So I'll just give the title as something, some title I'll give the title as something what something arithmetic operations, something. Okay, some meaningful title I am giving. Done. Then Rest of thing is simple. Who is the user who is creating this particular object? SAP user. He is called as what? Owner of the object. The person, the consultant who develops the objects is called as what? Owner. So this is my user ID. Then it is asking the type of object. What type of object you want to develop? So if you see the drop down, you will have different types of objects. We'll be discussing most of these things. So I'll choose what? Executable program. So initially we'll focus only on what? Executable program. I'll choose an executable program. Click on what? Save button. Okay. So when I click on save button, done, it is asking what package. So already in the last class I told a package like a what? It's like a directory. It's like a folder, which is a collection of what? Objects. Okay. So here also package like a directory which is a container of what? Objects. What are the objects that we are developing? Those objects you have to store it in a transportable package. Then only we can transport the object from development client to what? Quality client. But at this stage we don't know how to create the package and where to create the package. So since we don't have any package available, I'll click on what? Local object. But in the real time, what happens? Okay, on behalf of a project, a package will be available. All the consultants, all the ABAP consultants will store their objects in that particular package. Okay, so later on we'll see how to create our own package. As of now, let me click on local object. So when I click on local object, what happens? Your object will go and sit in a package called as what? $tmp. $tmp is a default package provided by what? SAP. Means whenever we install the SAP server, as part of that server you'll have some built-in packages. One of the package is what? $tmp. Nothing but what? Temporary package. Okay, so I'll click on local object. So what is the type of object I'm developing? Executable program. Okay, so when I click on local object, and you can see here it is starting with what keyword here? Report keyword. So what you have to understand is now onwards is any object which is starting with report keyword. Okay, any object which is starting with report keyword, you have to understand that as what? Executable program. Okay, each type of object will start with what? Different keyword. Okay, going forward we'll develop module programs. Module program starts with what? Program keyword. Okay, if I go for what? Subroutine pool, we have another type of program called as subroutine pool. Again it starts with what? Program keyword. Okay, so like that different types of objects will start with what? Different keywords. So anything starting with report keyword, you have to understand that as what? Executable program. Okay, done. This is my object name. These are all the comments. Line starting with star indicates what? Comment. Okay, it is only for what? Documentation purpose. It will not be executed. If you want, you can keep this things as it is, or you can delete it. Okay, so let me delete that. Done. Okay, so what is my requirement now? I want to develop a simple object which has to perform the sum of two numbers. Okay, we have to perform the sum of two numbers. So most of you might be aware of something about what? C language. So if you take the same requirement in C language, how do we do it? Okay, so first you'll include some header files, like you'll say hash include stdio.h. Okay, then you'll take a function called as what? Main function, something like this, void main. Then what is my requirement? To perform the sum of what? Two numbers. Okay, means I need to store some two integers. I need to perform the calculation, store the calculation in a third variable, and display that particular variable. So how do we achieve that in our C++ or Java? You'll declare some variables. How do you declare integers in C language? You'll say int. I'll declare some variables x comma y comma z. Okay, so this is how you declare variables in what? C plus Java. Then you'll assign some data, something like this: x equal to y equal to 20. Then you'll say z equal to what? X plus y. Then you have to print the value of what? Z. So for that, in C language we have a statement called as printf, and then you'll have some format specifies, then you print the value of what? Z, something like this. So this is the way you write your logic in your what? C++. You'll declare the variables, you will initialize the variables, you'll perform the calculation, and then display the value of that particular variable. So what is a variable? It is the one which is capable of storing the data. Okay, if you want to store any data, we require what? Variable. So I declared three variables here. So here also, in my case also, I want to declare how many variables? Three variables. Why three variables? Two variables I have to store the value, and the third variable I have to store the calculation. Okay, so that's the reason we require three variables. Okay, so we need to decide what kind of variables you have to declare. Okay, whether you have to declare integer, character, float, date, time, whatever it is. Okay, so in my case I want to store what? Some integers. So I want to declare some integers. So to declare any variable in ABAP, we use what keyword? Data keyword. Okay, every programming language, okay, will contain some reserved keywords. Means whenever we install that software, as part of that software you'll have what? Some keywords. So here also, if you observe, int is what? It's a keyword. Void is also what? Keyword. Okay, right? So you'll have some predefined keywords in every programming language. Similar in ABAP also, we have some keywords, or we call them a statement. So in case of ABAP, to declare variables, what is the keyword we use? Data keyword. Data is the keyword. Okay, so you can observe here it is appearing in blue color. So this indicates what? It is a reserved keyword which is given by what? SAP itself. So data, I have to give some variable name. You can give any name. I can give like this: a, b, c, x, y, z, whatever it is. So instead of giving lengthy variable name, for the time being, let me give short variable name. So I'll give it as what? X, type what? I. Okay, here I indicates what? Integer. In C, C plus Java, we use what? Int keyword. Here we use what? I. Understood? Data X type I, and as we know, every statement in ABAP should end with what? Dot, period, which indicates what? End of the statement. So from here to here, it is considered as what? One statement. Then I require one more variable. So I'll say data Z type I. Sorry. Okay, any name you can give. I'll give it as data Y type I. Okay, or I require one more variable. So I'll say data Z type I. Am I clear? So I'm declaring the variables. How many variables are declared here? Three variables. So these three statements I'm writing in one line only. Na? So whenever you are developing any object, I mean to say program, we have to take care of what? Readability also. Understood? We need to take care of readability. Means by looking at the program, I should able to understand what exactly that statement indicates. So we should focus on what? Readability of the program. So how do we ensure the readability? Instead of writing all the statements in a single line, I can write like this. It will work fine, because the moment you give dot, it indicates what? End of the statement. So from here to here, it is considered as one statement. Again, this is another statement. But instead of writing everything in the same line, okay, let us maintain the readability. So what I'll do, I'll declare it in what? Multiple lines. So this will increase the readability of the line. So I declared what? Three variables. What are the variable names here? X, Y, Z. And what kind of variables they are? I means what? Integer. Okay, to store integers we go for what? I. Okay, and data and this type are what? Keywords. Data is a keyword used for what? Declaring variables. Type indicates what kind of data type you want to declare. Okay, so I declare like this. So if you take our C, C plus Java, I am able to declare all the variables. I am able to declare multiple variables at a time. I am able to declare multiple variables at a time. So here if you take in our context, for declaring three variables, I used data keyword three times. Okay. So instead of doing like this, what is my requirement? I want to declare multiple variables by using what? Single keyword. That is single data keyword I have to use. I should be able to declare what? All the three variables. How do we do it? I can do like this, but instead of doing like this, instead of repeating that keyword again and again, let me comment this. So for your reference, I'll comment it. Comment means what? It is only for documentation purpose. It will not be executed. So how do you comment? Again, if you take our C language, to comment a single line, you'll say what? Slash slash. To comment group of lines, what you'll say? You'll say slash star, and here you'll see something like this. So whatever you enclose between this, they are considered as comments. Okay, that is in case of what? C, C++, and Java. Here in case of ABAP, to comment a single line, okay, at the beginning of the line you have to say what? Star. Okay, star indicates what? Entire line will be commented. Here also I'll give what? Star. Okay, so I'm commenting what? Three lines. So instead of giving star for every line one by one, if you want to comment them at a time, what you will do? Just you'll select the lines. Okay, whichever lines you want to comment, whichever the block of lines you want to comment, you select the lines, hold the control key on the keyboard, hold the control key and press less than symbol. You'll get what? Star. So that the entire selected block is all commented. If you want to uncomment, what I can do? Select the lines and again hold the control key and press what? Greater than symbol. This is for what? Uncommenting. So this comes only by what? Practice done. So let me comment. So what is my requirement? Instead of declaring these three variables by using three different data keywords, I want to declare it in a single statement. So what I'll do here? Okay, or Acha, from the middle of the line, if you want to comment, what you'll use double quotes. Whatever you write after double quotes, it is considered as what? Comment. Okay. So here I'll say or. See, suppose if I uncomment this line, from year to year, it will be executed. Whatever you write after double quotes, it is considered as what? Comment. It will not be executed. Okay. So I don't want to comment this also. At the beginning of the line, you have to use what? Start. Done. So now I'll say data. So I want to declare multiple variables. So you have to use colon. Nothing but what we pronounce it a chain operator. If you are performing multiple operations using a single keyword, we use what? Chain operator. It is colon only, but we pronounce it as what? Chain operator. Okay. When we have to use a chain operator, when you are doing multiple operations, okay, when you're doing multiple operations using a single keyword, we use what? Chain operator. Okay, so data colon, I'll say something what? X type I. If I give period, it indicates what? End of the statement. So if it is end of the statement, again I have to use what? Data keyword. So instead of using what? Period, I have to use comma. Comma will act as what? Separator. Comma will act as what? Separator. Okay, X type I, comma, Y type I. After comma, you need not give any space. Even if you give also, no problem. Even if it doesn't give also, not a issue. Comma will act as a separator. Okay, X type I, Y type I. What else? Z type I. Now I'll give what? Period. So here I'll give the period. So from here to it is considered as what? One statement only. So again, instead of writing everything in the single line, to increase the readability, I'll put it in what? Next line. Just I'll put it in a proper formatting. So like this. Okay. So till you give period, it indicates what? Same statement. So from here to here, it is considered as what? Single statement. So what is the difference between these two approaches? Here I used three different data keywords. Here I use only one data keyword. Using that one keyword, I am able to declare what? Multiple variables, and each variable you have to separate with what? Comma. And since you are doing multiple operations using a single keyword, you have to use a chain operator. Okay, hope it's clear to everyone so far. Done? Yeah, any questions so far? Those are very new to ABAP. Any questions? Please ask me. Okay, so if there are no questions, fine. Now, what is my next requirement? I declared three variables. Now, I need to initialize my variables. Now, I need to store some data in my variables. Okay, so how do we store the data? I'll say something x is equal to what? 10. X is equal to 10. I'll say y is equal to 20. I'll say z is equal to what? X plus y. Okay, so I'm initializing the variables. I'm performing some calculation. Then what I have to do? I have to print the value of what? Z. So in C language we use printf. In C plus we use cout. In Java we use system.out.println. Similar in ABAP also. To display the value of any variable, we have to use what statement? Write statement. So I'll say write Z. Okay, so I'll get some errors, we'll rectify that error. So what is the approach I'm following? First I'm declaring the variables, then I'm initializing the variables, I'm performing the calculation, storing the result in the required variable, then I'm displaying the value of a variable. Okay, so this is my object. Let me check whether I'll get any syntax errors. Okay, so what you have to do now, in order to execute, first you have to save it, Control S. Then you have to check for the syntax errors, Control F2. So on the standard toolbar we have the save button. I'll click on the Control S. Yeah, what I got here, program is what? Saved. Program is saved. Then check for what? Syntax error. So Control F2. On the application toolbar we have this check button, Control F2. So when I say Control F2, good. I got a syntax error. What is this here? Statement x equal to 10 is not defined. Check your spelling. Statement x equal to 10 is not defined. Check your spelling. So I am getting an error in which line? 11th row. In the 11th line I am getting an error. Statement x equal to 10 is not defined. So why we are getting? I believe in the last week I told, when I'm discussing ABAP programming rules, ABAP is what? Space sensitive. ABAP is space sensitive. So you need to maintain minimum one space between the variables. We need to maintain minimum one space between the variables. Since I have not maintained the space here, I am getting the syntax error saying that so and so statement is not defined. Check your spelling. So what is the change I have to do? Okay, again for your reference, I'll just comment it. Okay, and here how do you comment from the middle of the line? Double quotes. So if I leave it like this, you'll get what? Syntax error. So when you're practicing in the system, what you have to do, I'll send the program as it is. Okay, what you have to do is you just uncomment this and practice, so that you'll understand that if you give like this, you'll get what? Error. Am I clear? That's the reason I'm keeping this as a comment for your reference. So how do you comment from the middle of the line? Double quotes. Whatever you write after double quotes is what? Comment. So what is the change I have to do now? I have to maintain minimum what? One space. X equal to 10, here also y equal to 20, and here also z equal to x plus y. So minimum I need to maintain one space between the variables and what? Operators. Okay, done. Right? So again, for your reference, I'll give a comment here. This is called as what? Variable declaration. Okay, this is variable declaration, and this is nothing but what? This is nothing but what? Initialization. Okay, here I am just doing some addition, and then I am displaying the so what I am trying to show is, almost for every line I am trying to maintain comment. It is always good practice to maintain the comments for most of the lines, so that in future, if some other person has to modify this code, by looking at that comment, he will understand the purpose of that particular statement. The purpose of that particular statement. Understood? So in most of the projects, they'll also check for these things, whether you have maintained the comments or not. So it's always recommended to maintain the comments for most of the statements. Okay. So this is nothing but called as initialization. I am doing some calculation here, and then I am displaying the value of the variable. Done. Let me save it. Control S. Let me check for syntax errors. Control F2. Yeah, I don't have any errors. Program is syntactically correct. Then what is the status of the object? Inactive. So always we know that in real time, every object we have to transport from development system to quality system. In order to transport, the object should be in what? Active state. So here also, anyway, we are not going to do any transportation at this stage, but make a practice to activate the object. How do we activate? Control F3. So let me activate. So since I saved it in the local object, the local object tab is highlighted, and this is your object, and just click on what? Continue. The object is auto selected here. You need not do anything. Just if you get this window, just click on continue button, enter. Done. The object is what? Active. Then I need to what? Execute it. How do we execute? F8. Okay, on the application toolbar we have the button direct processing. So when I click on this, yes, I got the result as what? 30. Understood? So I got the result as 30. Okay, and if you want to go back to the program, every screen in SAP contains a back button. What is that function here? F3. I can press what F3, or I can click on this. That. So this is a simple way to develop the code. So what we understood from this code is how to declare the variables, how to write the comments, and how to display the value of the variables. Any questions in this, please ask me. Okay. So if there are no questions, fine. So what is my requirement here is, when I execute, okay, I got the result as 30. But always you have to keep what? You have to keep end user in mind. End user in the, I mean to say, you need to keep customer in mind. Okay, so we are not developing these objects for our purpose. We are developing it for what? Customer purpose. Okay, so that means by looking at this, you should understand what you are trying to show here. Here I'm just giving 30 here. What does it indicate? There is no meaningful information here. So what I want to do, I want to just give a message like sum of two numbers is a 30. Sum of two numbers is 30. So what I'll do is, let me keep this as it is. Okay, again I want to reprint that z value. So what I'll do, right? If I do like this, again you'll get what? Same 30. So let me activate. I got the same 30. Okay, understood. I got in the same line. If you want in the next line, you'll say what? Slash. Slash indicates what here? New line. So when I execute, again I got the result 30. But what I want this time, I want to show a meaningful text like sum of two numbers is 30. So sum of two numbers is a collection of characters, na? Nothing but what? String. String means what? Group of characters, set of characters. So how do we enclose strings in ABAP? You have to enclose it in single quote. So here I'll say, in single quotes, I'll say something. Okay, sum of what? Two numbers is, okay, close the single quote. So this is from year to year, it is what? A string. It is a string. And the z is what? It is an integer variable. So I need to separate this string variable, I mean it's a string data, and this particular variable. How do you separate two variables here? By using what? Comma. By using comma. Okay, but you can see here I got it in red color. Why I got in red color? Because I am using only one keyword. What is that keyword? Right keyword. But I am trying to perform multiple operations. I am trying to print what? A string, and I am trying to print the value of a variable. So I am trying to print two things by using what? Single keyword. So I got red color in the line, which indicates that there is some syntax error. So when I try to do syntax checks here, control S, when I say control F2, yes, I got an error, comma without preceding colon after, right? So what is the syntax in which line? 16th line. Okay, comma without preceding colon after, right? So why I am getting the error? Because I am trying to print two things by using a single keyword. So already we know, whenever you are performing multiple operations using single keyword, we have to use what? Chain operator. So what I mean to say is, chain operator is not only for data keyword, it can be used for all the keywords wherever you are performing multiple operations using single keyword. So here, since I am not using the chain operator, I am getting what? Error. So again I'll keep this for your reference. So I'll say start. So here I'll give double quotes what? Syntax error. So when you're practicing, what you have to do, you uncomment and practice, so that when you do syntax check, you will understand this error message. Am I clear? If you get errors only, will become strong. Okay, so done. I'm just commenting it. So what is the adjustment I have to do? I have to use what? Chain operator. So let me copy this. Sum of two numbers. Okay, so here I have to use what? Colon. Colon indicates what? Chain operator here. Okay, so save, check it, no errors, done. When I execute, I got the result. Here I got only the plain value 30. Here I got sum of two numbers is what? 30. Sum, this is string, and this is your integer variable. Okay, so I'll try to give space here. So save, check, no errors, done. When I execute, I got the same result. Understood? So don't focus on where to give space and where not to give space. It comes with practice. Okay. So I got the result as what? Something 30. Understood? So I'm using chain operator both for data keyword as well as for write keyword. Going forward, I'll use it for some other keywords also. Done. Now, when I execute, okay, I got the result as what? Sum of two numbers is 30. You can observe here, in this 30, I got a space here. In this given space, 30 is coming in the right hand side. Why I'm getting this 30 in the right hand side in this particular space? 30 is stored in which variable? It is stored in what? Z. Z is declared as what type? I indicates what? Integer. Okay, so already we know, somewhere in the last week I told, we have numeric data types and character data types. Numeric data types are right justified, character data types are left justified. Since integer comes under what? Numeric data type. Okay. What you have to do, you have to, that's why we are getting into what? Right hand side, because numeric data types are what? Right justified. So my requirement now is, when I execute, okay, I got the result, but I don't want in the right hand side. I want to print this 30 in the left hand side. Means I want to change the justification of this particular value. By default, I am getting what? Right hand side. I am not specifying any justification, but by default, I am getting right hand side because Z is what? Integer. Integer comes under numeric data types. Numeric data types are always what? Right justified. But I want it what? Left hand side. So see the change here. I'll say, once again, I'll print it. I want it in the new line. Sum of two numbers is Z space. After Z, okay, after Z, I will use some addition, or we call them as options. Okay, I will use an addition called as, see, left justified. See here, I'm typing L here. When I'm typing L, I got a smart help here. Okay, I got a smart help, or you call it as a tooltip kind of thing. This is the moment you type L, I got some smart help. If you want to make use of that, press tab. So if you press tab, you'll get that entire line. Okay, so these are called about additions. Additions, options related to which statement here? Right statement. So what is the option I'm using? I'm going to say addition, I'm using left justified. Let's say that I'll get in the left hand side. Done. Yes, I got in the left hand side there, 30. Okay, similarly I want it in the right center. Okay, so what I'll do, let me reprint it once again. Here I'll say, I'll type C. I got a smart help centered. Done. Check it. Done. Execute. Okay, so I got in the center. So by default, numeric data types are what? Right justified. If you want to change the justification, you have to use these additions: left justified, right justified, or centered, whatever. These are all called as what? Additions, or we call them as what? Options, related to what statement? Right statement. Right is the main keyword here. Relate to this keyword, relate to this statement, you'll have some additions. Okay, so how do we know these additions? How do we know what are the additions related to right statement? How do we know that? Means you have to check the documentation. Understood? To know the options, I mean to say, are we called as additions? To know the additions related to any keywords, okay, we need to refer to a documentation. Okay, so how do you refer to documentation? Suppose I'll put the cursor on the right statement. I'll put the cursor anywhere on the right statement and press what? F1. When you press F1, you'll get the online documentations. When you press F1, I pressed F1 key, I got the documentation, ABAP keyword documentation. So I'm interested to know about what? Right statement. Okay, I can click anywhere here. I'll just double click on the first entry, right ABAP statement. I'll just click on this. So it is opening me the documentation. Okay, so related to right statement, it is showing me the syntax. Syntax in the sense, what are the options you have to use, how to use them. Okay, it will give the detailed information about that. So if you see here, this statement formats the content of the data objects and writes it to the current pair, the current list in the list buffer. Okay, am I clear? So it is showing me the information related to what? right statement. So you can see this is a syntax. Again, don't try to understand everything in a single stretch. It will come by practice. So you can see it. This is a main keyword, right? Related to that, we have many options. No gap, so and so, under, at, so and so. Okay. We have some options here. Internal formatting options and external formatting options. Okay. So let me click on this internal formatting options. If I click on this, so here related to this, okay, I am getting what? Some additions. What are they? Left justified or centered or what? Right justified. Am I clear? Okay, so these are all the different options. It is not possible to discuss all the options in a single stretch. During the course, whichever option is relevant for our requirement, we should know how to use it and where to use it. Make clear? So one of the additions what? Left justified, center right justified. If I click on this, it is showing the information about that. So okay, if I click on this, done. This addition determines addition, or we call it as option. This addition determines whether the content of the source field that is formatted according to the other option is adjusted within the available length to the right, center, or the left. Okay, so how do we open the documentation? Related to any keyword, put the cursor on that keyword and press what? F1. So it is important to know how to use this documentation also. Blindly we cannot use it. We should know how to use it. So it comes again by what? Practice and exposure. Okay. So if I click on this external formatting option, again it is giving some option. Okay. So we have different additions here. So what to use when we'll understand going forward. Okay, let me go back here. I am having the back button, previous document. So like this, we should refer to the documentation. Suppose I want to know about more about data keyword. I want to know what are the options related to my data keyword. So I'll put the cursor here. I'll put the cursor. I'll press what? F1. Okay, you can see here. Related to data, again we have many options here. Okay, using predefined types like this, they give some syntax examples. We'll have the examples also. Okay, everything will be available in the documentation. Okay, so we should know how to use the documentation. Done. So any questions so far, please ask me. I know this is kind of boring for some of you, but already I told, we assume that we are very new to ABAP and we'll start from very basic level. Any questions, please ask me. There are many people missing today. There are 13 members are there, but only 8 are connected. Any questions? Syed, Nilima, Jason, Chinna, Ram, Srikant, Vamshi.
Sir, hello. Yes,
Syed.
sir. Uh, in Java C++, we declare the variables, means integer variable separately, character variable separately.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And now for displaying right statement, sum of the two number is z. This we have declared that it is a character type of data type. How?
No.
Is it okay in ABAP?
No. Where I declared character here, I declared only integers. No? These are all integers.
Integers, yes.
Okay, so in the right
But for
statement,
displaying, we
yeah,
need to.
correct. This is not a variable now. It is directly a value. Variable means if you declare anything by using data, we call it as a variable. Here in the right statement, what I am doing
Okay.
directly, I am putting the character value. I am not putting that in another variable. If I put that in another variable, then I should declare
Okay.
a character variable. But this is not a variable now. It is
Okay.
directly a value. I'm displaying
Okay. Okay.
character. I'm directly displaying character value and integer value. So if you display multiple things using the right statement, you have to use a chain operator. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Others, any doubts? Yeah. Okay. So now, what I did here, I declared three variables. Okay, and then I have done the initialization separately, so on. So, If you take our Java context or C++, I can say like this: int x equal to 10, y equal to 20, z something like this. I can say z equal to what, x plus y. So what I am trying to show here is, in C++ Java, at the time of declaring the variable only, we are able to initialize. At the time of declaring the variable only, we are able to initialize. Here what I did, I declared variables first, then separately I am doing the initialization. Now what is my requirement? My requirement is, I want to declare a variable as well as initialize at the same time. Okay, so let's see how to do it. So instead of writing it in a separate program, let me do it in the same program. So here, okay, I'll use a keyword called as uline. Uline is what? Underline. See, when I execute, what I got here, line, underline, horizontal line you will get. Okay, it's not compulsory that I have to use uline, but just to separate my output, I am using what? Uline. Done. So what is my requirement now? I want to declare two variables. At the time of declaration only, I want to initialize. Okay, so how do you do it? Again, I have to use what? Data keyword. Understood. Again, I cannot declare a variable the same name. Na? A program cannot contain two variables with the same name. Suppose if I say again data x type I, obviously I'll get what? Error. So when I do syntax check, Control S, Control F2, I got an error. X has already been declared. A program cannot contain two variable declarations with the same name. Okay, so obviously this will give syntax error. I'll keep this for your reference. Syntax error done. Now I'll say data. I'll use what? Chain operator, because I want to declare multiple variables at a time. Okay, so x and y is already available. So I'll say something v1 type I, something, some name v1 type I. What is my requirement? At the time of declaration only, I want to initialize. So in the earlier example, what I did, I used the write statement. I used some additions related to that, like left justified and centered. Similarly, related to the data statement also, we have a keyword called as, we have a option called as what? Value. Data v1 type I value something 20 something, comma. I'll declare another variable v2 type I. I'll say something value 25. So what I'm doing here, I'm declaring two variables. I can give any name, okay, of type what? Integer. At the time of declaration only, I'm initializing. Okay, so for your reference, again I'll give you a comment here what it is called as: declaration and what? Initialization. Declaration and what? Initialization. Okay, so value is a keyword used for what? Initializing the variables at the time of declaration. Then I require one variable for storing the result. Na? Already we have a variable what? Z. Already I am having a variable Z. I can declare one more variable, but instead of doing that, I'll use the same variable. I'll say Z is equal to what? Something what? V1 plus V2. Then I'll say write. Okay, I'll use a chain operator, new line. I'll say what? Sum is what? Sum is what? Z. Sum is Z. So let me check it now. Save, check it, no errors, done. When I execute, I got the result is what? Sum is what? 45. Understood? So this is a way to declare the variables as well as what? Initialize the variables. Hope it's clear. Done. Okay, so we understood about the data keyword and we understood about what? Write keyword. Okay, data keyword is for what? Declaring the variables, and write is for displaying the values in the variable. So again, let me say uline. Now just try to understand. I'll say data. So earlier two cases, what I did, I'm using data keyword for declaring variables of same type. What are they? Integers. Okay, here also I used what? Integers. Now I can declare multiple different variables of different data types. Suppose I'll say data. Okay, so I'll just give a variable name as v underscore x type I, something, some variable name type what? Integer. Okay, v underscore y type what? C. Okay, v underscore z type what? P. Indicates what? Pack. Okay, again you will get confused at this stage. Let me not use tag for the timing. So I declared what? Integer and what? Character. Done. So I declared two variables. Okay. So if you come back to C++, suppose I'll declare like this, int x, and I'll print the value of this x. I'll say printf something percentage d, and you'll say x. What is the result I'll get? I'll get what? Garbage value. Garbage value in the sense we cannot expect the value. We cannot predict the value. We'll get some unexpected value. But whereas here, I declare two variables. One variable is of type integer, another variable is of type what? C. C indicates what? Character. So I'll say here, right. Let me print the value of that. Okay, for your understanding, I'll just give the message. V underscore x is, what is the variable name? V underscore x, comma. Okay, again in the new line, I'll say V underscore y is, what is the variable name? V underscore y. So what I'm trying to show is, I declare two variables of type integer and character. I have not stored any data in that. So if you take our C++ environment, you'll get the unexpected value. We cannot predict the value. Here, let's see what the values I'll get. Save, check it, no errors, done. When I execute, what I got? V underscore x is 0 and V underscore y is what? Space. Space. So what is the understanding in ABAP? Numeric data types are initialized to 0 and character data types to what? Null. I mean to say space. I repeat, in ABAP, numeric data types are initialized to what? Zeros, and character data types to what? Space. That is null values. So there is the default values for what? Integers and what? Characters. Okay. Now I'll store some value now. V underscore x equal to something for something 48, and I'll say V underscore y is equal to, I'll say something what? Gensoft. Okay, or I'll say something Gensoft Technologies. Is it clear? So in the V underscore x, I'm initializing some value, and V underscore y, I'm printing some value. Let me check what is the result I'll get now. If you print only, I'll understand. Right? So again, I'm reprinting in the new line. Okay, V underscore x and V underscore y, I'm printing. So when I execute, see now, what I got? V underscore x, I got 48. 0 is overwritten 48. V underscore y, I got what? G only. G only. Why G only? By default, character occupies 1 byte. 1 byte means it can store only what? One character. But you're trying to store what? Group of characters. It is not capable of storing group of characters. So I got only what? Single character value. What I got? G. If you want to store group of characters, what you will do? Let me say data. I'll say something v underscore z, some variable. I'll say v underscore z of 10. Type what? C. Okay, so this is nothing but called as what? Array of characters. Collection of what? Characters. Group of characters. So it can store maximum how many characters? 10 characters. Now I'll say v underscore z is equal to what? Gensoft Technologies. Okay, let me print the value of v underscore z. So again, for your understanding, I'll print a string here. V underscore z is what? V underscore z. This is only to show the user, and this is the variable which you're trying to print. Okay, so the capacity of this variable is maximum 10 characters, but I'm trying to store what? More than 10 characters. So when I execute, what I got? Gensoft space 10, space T. Overall 10 characters is 7 plus 1 plus 2. Space is also considered what? One character. So what I'm trying to show is, if you don't give any width here, by default it can store only one character. Here it can store what? Up to what? 10 characters. That is the way you have to work with what? Characters. Anyhow, going forward, we'll see many examples. Any questions in this part? Then, so today we just understood how to develop, how to declare variables, how to print. So in the next 4 5 days, we'll see many options, many different keywords. Okay, so this entire week we'll see the basic programming only, just how to use different keywords. What is the purpose of that? Actual usage you will understand when you go to what advanced concepts. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see how to read the input from the user. Just like in C language we have scanf, in C plus we have cin. Okay, so here also we'll see how to read the input from the user, how to declare constant, how to work with the decimal variables. Okay, so all those things we'll start discussing from tomorrow onwards. Any questions for today? Please ask me. Done? Sure then. So I'll wind off. We'll continue tomorrow. Today I'll send you that vendor details who provide that rental access. If you're interested, you can mail them or you can directly call them and take the system for rental for practice purpose. Okay. Sure then. So I'll wind off. We'll meet tomorrow around 6:45. Sure.